to the government's push for Digital India and BharatNet, which has given a special boost to optic fiber suppliers. Add to that smart city and defense contracts, and Sterlite Technologies seems to be in a sweet spot. To discuss the business opportunities for the company, we are joined by Anand Agarwal, CEO at the company. Good having you, Anand. Thanks so much for joining in. You're largely called an optic fiber company, but you guess you're moving away from being a pure play optic fiber company to doing other things as well. Would you want to clarify about what all are you doing currently?
Sterlite Tech is now becoming a company which is beyond fiber. So fiber and cable continues to be a large part of it, a big part of our strategy. But we are moving towards becoming a company which is in the business essentially for our customers of data transmission and data monetization. So we're becoming more and more a company which is looking at designing the new networks, the new web scale networks of tomorrow, designing it, building it, monetizing it, as well as managing it. And we've started doing it for a few of the cities. We are doing it for some of the telecom customers. And the entire focus is essentially moving towards as more and more data is going through the network. The networks need to be thought of, designed in a very different way. Us having a core fiber background, that's where the transmission of all the data is happening. We are building layers on top of it with our services vertical, with our software vertical, which is focusing on operations as well as billing support. So we're becoming into a company which is designing, building, and managing data networks. And we are doing it with our offerings, which is integrated from fiber, services, and software. So you're right, Neeraj. It's shifting to be a very different company than, say, what it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, but Anand, will that become a larger part of your business in 2-3 years? Or is that in some sense quite a few years out?
What's great for us is essentially that both the parts of the business are growing. The fiber part of the business is continuing to grow with 5G coming in. The cell sites are getting closer and closer to the consumer. And all these cell sites need to be connected by fiber as the backbone. So you have almost 10 times more cell sites, all cell sites to be connected by fiber. So fiber business is showing a great degree of growth. The services business, which is essentially about designing this network on which the data communication for city, things like surveillance, things like parking, things like traffic monitoring start getting put on that platform. And then towards moving on for alternate customers, towards monetizing, towards billing, starts becoming important. So relatively for us, today services and software is about last year only 25% of the revenues. Because of a smaller base, the growth will be faster for services and software. But our products business also will continue to grow as we continue to look forward.
Okay, since you're talking growth, Anand, what's the compounded annual growth rate that you envisage for your services business and for your products business individually?
Neeraj, will be if we last 5 years we've been growing at our CAGR for revenues has been about 28% and EBITDA has been about 40%, and that was based only on the growth that we saw in the products business. Essentially, that was essentially a growth which was in a market which was transitioning from 3G to 4G at a global level. As 4G shifts towards 5G, there is much more fiber required. And our offering starts creating the data networks itself. And that's why really the growth that we see as we move forward will definitely be faster than what it was in the preceding 5 years. We do not per se give out numbers or have plans because the market is so much evolving. We are essentially looking at opportunities. We are essentially looking at our ways of participating in it. And then the revenue just follows, revenue bottom line just follows from it. So one guidance, one thought process, one direction that we have set for ourselves was that we create a $100 million bottom line by FY20. So we are looking that as one level of guidance, but beyond that, definitely the growth will be faster than what we have seen in the past.
That's good to know. Now you reiterate your PAT target, or you reiterated your PAT target of $100 million by FY20, and that would mean a 3x jump in 3 years on that base of yours and on the back of your H1 performance of 120 crores.
Yeah, 3-year jump of 3x translates to a CAGR of about 50% at net profit level. And as I said, we have been delivering almost 40% at EBITDA level. And because the operating leverage is so strong, we believe 50% CAGR at net profit level should be achievable. And that's the direction we have set for ourselves. And it's based on a much stronger tailwind. It's based on a much different set of capabilities that we have as a company. And it's based on a much larger scale of customer base that we are looking at. In the past, the customer base was essentially telecom providers. Now it's telecom providers, it's defense, it's cities, it's new MSOs or cable TV providers, it's the new emerging internet service providers, and with a wider range of services. So with a broader set of customers, with a broader set of offerings, and the broader perspective, the data part, which drives our business, continuing to show growth in leaps and bounds. I think the revenue growth will more be a derivative than something that we need to push for.
Can you shed some light on the opportunities in the smart cities sector as well that you just spoke about? And what would be the scope for work for Sterlite Tech? Would it only be the layout, or would it involve annual maintenance contracts as well?
Sure. The smart cities bid, it's a long-term evolution of the city itself. So currently the way cities are being designed is more towards the immediate needs. It's based on designs or area-based development. So essentially you design the core infrastructure, and it could be the core infrastructure. It could be water, it could be electricity, it could be gas transmission. You design the fiber layer and the sensing layer along with that. You may, and it's going to happen in phases over a period of, say, next 5 to 10 years. So for the bit of network that you design, you execute right now, the post-execution, then there is this that you spoke about, maintenance-related annuity for 5 to 7 years. And there is an additional revenue opportunity, which is towards monetizing the platform that has been created. As each city is getting created, there is a platform which is getting created on which, for example, any application provider, any startup can host its application on that city, which could be, say, for a local development. It could be somebody who's offering tuition in that area, and uses that platform towards transmitting his application. So it's the annuity part will be towards maintaining that network, and it could be revenue share on any monetization that happens on the network. And that's, say, one layer of the network. As time goes on, this network layer starts getting populated. There are more applications that need to start getting designed. Say a city which has today designed for parking and lighting, tomorrow could design for traffic management, could design for different applications. Then the network needs to be augmented and upgraded. And that's an additional opportunity that comes in. Once you are inside a city, then the opportunity just keeps on growing from there in managing the core infrastructure, but in upgrading it as it goes along.
Okay. Would you be actively looking at defense contracts as well? And is the nature of a defense contract different from other private contracts in terms of money coming in from the government, the returns, etc., etc.?
This contract with defense is essentially, defense is creating a full fiber optic based network, which is pan-India in lieu of the spectrum that was vacated. So the current contract that we are doing is essentially laying the fiber optic network for defense in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The scope is essentially you lay that network and then you maintain it for a period of 10 years. So clearly, we are looking at defense as a good vertical for us because we believe as technology moves forward, the requirements for surveillance, the requirement for communication will all start becoming more and more sensing oriented, more and more data oriented, more and more intelligence oriented. And these capabilities within the company, from working across various verticals, the fiber itself is becoming a sensor. The data analytics is becoming a requirement for our telco as well as smart city offerings. And all these offerings start becoming important for us, what we start doing for any other opportunity, and defense being one of the strategic opportunities that we are looking at. Definitely, the focus is for us there to build alternate layers of defense, to look at alternate opportunities as defense rolls out, because communication is a strong part for defense as cybersecurity starts becoming more and more important. And we will be looking at defense as a strategic customer for us as we move forward.
Anand, afraid out of time completely. Would have loved to chat more, but thanks so much for taking the time out and joining us today and giving us your thoughts. That's Sterlite Technologies.